And now from the Honourable Mr. Simplex Banda, who's the Ministry of Trade and Industry of Malawi, another candidate for this programme.
Thank you very much, Madam Moderator, for according me an opportunity to speak on behalf of Malawi government. And indeed, as my uncle professor from Kenya did mention, I am also sitting in on behalf of the Malawi head of state. Moderator, distinguished guests, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I am very much delighted to be here today to discuss the topic of productive capacities development to achieve sustainable structural transformation in the framework of the Transforming for Trade High Impact Initiative. This is indeed my primary focus earlier in Malawi as the Minister responsible for trade and industry. And Madam Moderator, I am extremely happy that UNCTAD has committed to undertake this initiative in my country. In Malawi, we have our long-term plan. We call it the Malawi 2063. And in this vision, it aims to transform Malawi into a worthy, self-reliant, industrialized, upper-middle income country through our focus on agricultural commercialization, industrialization, and urbanization. Madam Moderator, this is a long way to go for us, but we believe that we can achieve it with the support that we get from institutions like UNCTAD, its collaborating agencies, and all supporters of holistic approach to economic development gathered here today, and those that we mobilize on board in future. Ladies and gentlemen, to support our trade diversification initiative, we are, as a country, implementing the National Export Strategy that is being implemented to enhance our export diversification initiative, or drive. And for the past years, the concentration in Malawi has been on tobacco and a few other commodities. And through this National Export Strategy, we are now diversifying into production of agriculture-related products, namely oil seeds such as soya beans, groundnuts, pigeon peas, beans, sunflower, amongst others. At this moment, let me assure the gathering here that when you have eaten the agricultural food-related items from Malawi, that's when you know ours is very unique indeed, and we are inviting you to taste it. Ladies and gentlemen, to promote industrialization, Malawi is a country of great potential. Our agricultural sector provides products that are in global demand, and we have the opportunity to develop these sectors further through the value addition. We have a promising manufacturing base that can be further enhanced through optimal use of new technologies, and a rich services sector, including tourism, health services, the banking sector, telecommunication, and retail. The export of labor and tourism sectors are some of the low-hanging fruits from Malawi, which we are working on to reap more benefits from the services. This is a solid basis to build on. Despite these initiatives we are undertaking, there are some constraints to our developmental agenda that have kept us from reaching our actual potential, and some of them include, number one, dependency on a few commodities as described above, and similarly to other LDC's economy. Malawi remains heavily dependent on a few commodities, which makes it vulnerable to external shocks. Our mainstay are agricultural products, yet we don't have, at the moment, take this sector to the next level through value addition and approaches that would enable us to break the vicious cycle of dependency and vulnerability to external shocks. The high population growth rates or youth boom, most of which is idle, the low productive base and capacities, and low skills capacities. This is the reason why our country is particularly keen to implement this holistic approach to economic development and strengthen our productive capacities to achieve sustainable development. I personally requested UNCTAD to carry out a productive capacity gap assessment for Malawi so that we are able to know where Malawi stands vis-à-vis its own development trajectory and vis-à-vis other countries in the productive capacities radar. I'm very happy this afternoon that when I met some top officials of UNCTAD, they reminded me of a very important meeting that we've had in Doha, Qatar, which resulted in them planning to come and visit Malawi first week of October. And this is a welcome development for my country. I am also particularly happy that Secretary General, you have responded positively to our request for support and that Malawi is one of the few countries to benefit from this. This is not a mean achievement. Kudos to you, Secretary General. We've started this process with UNCTAD, and the next step will be a capacity building of our own statisticians and policymakers so that they can learn how to employ the Productive Capacity Index, the PCI, and use it as a tool in economic policymaking in Malawi. This is something that I value very much because we will be capacitated to use this statistical tool which can serve as a basis for this new evidence-based approach to holistic economic policymaking and embed it into our own national institutions. From this training, we'll move to our national productive capacity gap assessments for Malawi, and I very much count on this assessment to help us identify the gaps and the ways to address them. This will be instrumental for our future development policies and the measures that we take in the different areas that together make up productive capacities. Malawi is rich in the area of natural capital. But how can we harness this richness further? We have a young population with so much talent, but how to keep them obtain the opportunities they deserve in our country, Malawi? How should we develop our transport infrastructure so that it serves the purposes of a more diversified value addition economy? And how about new technologies? How can we make better use of them for our development? These and many others are some of the questions that I have and many Malawians have. And we are looking forward to finding answers through the productive capacity gap assessment. It is from there that we can then move to the development of a holistic productive capacity development program that will support us on our path towards sustainable structural economic transformation. This program will work to address the gaps identified in the National Productive Capacity Gaps Assessment, and having learned what has been achieved in Angola, as alluded to by the minister, my dear brother from Angola, I am very keen and optimistic to have this on the ground in Malawi, and not in time, but soon and now. Excellencies, distinguished guests, I am particularly fascinated by the holistic approach because it brings on board all actors in society to work together the common goal of sustainable economic development. We therefore welcome the holistic, multi-sectoral and multi-actor approach to economic development and want to particularly emphasize the human capital development that is at the core of this approach. We want to link this improved market access and trading possibilities within the African continental free trade area and also explore markets beyond Africa. We want to build the capacities of our youths to take up these opportunities that are opening up for us. We want to capacitate our entrepreneurs. We want to develop industrial parks, amongst others. We want to build a vibrant private sector to drive this further. We need to know how to attract sustainable investments to the new and revived sectors. All these should be embedded in our national institutions like we have seen it done in Angola. It is key for us that UN system as a whole and our development partners adopt this holistic approach to economic development and support us on the path towards sustainable structural transformation that will help to bring opportunities, development, and welfare to our populations. All these efforts, Secretary General, and the long-term vision that it requires needs resources to be implemented. For this, we need everyone to participate in this lasting development partnership for a better and more sustainable future, one that is built on a solid ground in our countries and national economies, one that will break the cycle of dependence and vulnerability. In the spirit of one Malawi, one people and one nation, and indeed in the spirit of one UN and one UNCTAD, I thank you for your attention. Thank you very much.